This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm Kevin Ostie, coming to you from the secret Stubborn German Bunker. A subsidiary of the Stubborn German Brewing Company in beautiful Waterloo, Illinois. Joined as always by the proprietor of both establishments, Mr. Chris Ron. Welcome.
Hello, Kevin. How's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Great.
We're also joined by Mr. Jared Chasson, our esteemed producer.
Good evening.
What's up, Jared?
Not much. You run this place, huh?
I run this place.
Both places.
You know I don't run this place.
Tammy might
place.
say something different. Yes. And our very special guest from an organization called Marketicity, Mr. Gary Most, our good buddy. How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you both very much. Thank you all three for having me in. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you joining us. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you. This will be fun.
You're very welcome. And we're going to find out what you're doing here in a minute.
That sounds perfect.
Kevin, I have to say I'm a little nervous having you guys back to the bunker for another podcast. The last time we tried to record something here, it was not suitable for these airwaves.
That's right.
Yeah.
It did not meet federal standards.
Or any standards.
So that is an interesting little story because, Gary, earlier you had asked us how many of these do we record
That's why I said
in a setting.
We try for two.
Try for two at a time, friends. And for those who listen to this in series, you can probably tell which ones are the second one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every other one gets kind of sloppy towards halfway.
Right.
Well lubricated. So
Yeah.
And the second one last time got sloppy and loose.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, sloppy and loose real quick. So, yeah, I have no doubts about this episode, and we got a pro with Gary on, so we'll be fine. But the next one, guys, look out.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. So subscribe now.
You're going to want to hear the next
There you
one.
go.
That's right. Exactly. Well, for those people who listen to every other episode, you're aware that we have a very fun and entertaining and rewarding contest on each show that we call the German Word of the Day that Chris always wins.
Oh, do we? Yes, I always win. Okay, I have a German word of the day. It is Plakatwand.
Plakatwand?
Plakatwand.
Plakatwand.
Well,
Plakatwand.
seeing that Gary
Plakatwand.
pronounced it properly,
yeah, I know.
you
This
get to
isn't
guess
good.
first.
And he already let the cat out of the bag that he's got 2 years of German in high school, so
But he did fail.
he did fail. So
My final, I did fail. Prior to that, I was doing okay. I learned enough German to get slapped and find out where the restroom is. So,
Sometimes at the same time.
yeah, it's true. So the German word of the day is
Plakatwand.
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 Yes.
So it's ironic that you picked this word because I do happen to know what it means.
Oh, my
Plakatwand is
Where's the
plaid
confetti?
jacket.
Plaid jacket.
Plakatwand,
Wow.
yeah, plaid jacket.
Now-
That's what I was going
We
to say.
have had some
Right.
confident answers before that ended up being wrong. So
That's
We've
I
never
feel
had
like
an answer that kind.
that's true. You know,
No, never.
Plakatwand.
I mean, that's a win right there. Whether it's right or not.
Except for when Tom Calhoun said, "Oh, I know what that is."
Yeah.
that was almost insulting to him.
I
That was
know
different.
it was.
This was like, no, I know this. That was like, "Pah, you kidding me? I thought this was a competition.
Too simple. Okay, who's next?
Well, it does sound like a very good answer, but I'm going to say tape player.
Ooh,
Tape player. Old school analog.
player.
I was also going to say that.
Were you?
Yeah.
So your first two answers have been taken.
I know.
Yes.
See how
Okay.
it gets very
Pressure's on
difficult
now.
for,
It does.
for me.
Plaid
yeah.
jacket and tape player are out, Kevin.
Like an old TIAC reel to reel or something.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Plakatwand means
Giant stick.
giant
Wow, okay.
stick. Once again, looking out the window at the bunker and naming the first thing he sees.
Was it that obvious? Because that's
giant
kind of
stick
exactly
out
what
there.
happened.
Absolutely.
And here's the logic, friends. Tree is only one word. So I looked down and saw
need
a
an
tree.
adjective.
I had to split that into two words in a different language right before your very eyes and came up with giant stick.
Masterful.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tune in to the end of this episode and stick around for the middle stuff, too. It might be cool.
To find out how Gary wins. All right, Mr. Most. So welcome
Yeah.
aboard. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. I was honored when you all asked, and I was really looking forward to it. So
Awesome.
thanks so very much. This is the first podcast I've ever been on.
Really?
And so from that standpoint, a little nervous.
Oh.
Listen to a bunch. Listen to these. Listen to the V8 Restos. Listen to
right
the
on.
Stubborn German ones. And
That was you. Wow.
So I'm excited to be here. Very excited.
Honestly, I thought of you because I read your. It was a write up on Facebook that I guess one of your crew members did about you, saying, your history and all that. And I don't remember exactly what as I was reading, though, one of his comments was, "Oh, I have so much to say about this. I could probably do a podcast on it." And I'm like, "Oh, why haven't we done this already?"
Chris, being
so here you are,
being a very creative guy.
Yeah, ripping off.
I got an idea.
I like it. That works.
Yeah.
That works.
Well, what was the topic?
Yeah, it was a topic. Which part was that? This was a little while ago. So
Well, this is the question for Gary. So I mean,
yeah, okay, yeah, not me.
So I have to remember what was on our blog post. I got to think about that. Probably just about clients and work and things that we've done.
I think it was you were talking about like your favorite projects. I think is what that was. Yeah. And
so we're fortunate enough to have a lot of those, and we always tell people our projects that we work on are like our kids. We could go on and on ad nauseum when it comes to specific projects and why we did something or why we didn't do something and how we got to where we're going. So we can just ramble on and on when it comes to those. But we had fortunate enough to work on a lot of really wonderful projects, clients, initiatives from local businesses that we work with in Waterloo and the Monroe County area. I've worked on regional campaigns, national campaigns, and even some of the things that I've done on some of our projects, not with Marketicity, but with other. Well, actually, Marketicity, our international projects.
That's cool.
Which is awesome. It really is. It's very, very fun. And one of the things that we try to do is you will see a lot of marketing firms or organizations, and they are very much focused on one vertical. Maybe it's agriculture, maybe it's technology, maybe it's spirits, maybe it's beer, et cetera. Go on down the line. And one of the things that we've tried to do with our company is not specifically do one particular vertical, because there are so many times you get the opportunity to take ideas and thoughts and strategies from one client and kind of twist them, manipulate them, and they are the genesis for ideas with other clients that are in a completely different category, a completely different way of marketing towards their customers.
So you're taking the experiences of the past few and coming up with new ideas for the next few. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really is. It's all about just the creativity and the strategy.
That's awesome.
And what's at the genesis of that? What's at the base of that?
So if you haven't gathered by now, Gary's firm is a marketing communications agency.
Correct.
Creative stuff.
Yep.
And local to the Stubborn German, and you're also a member in the Waterloo Optimist Club, as is 75% of the people at this table.
That's right.
And the other 25% needs an application.
I feel like I'm missing out. I need to join up.
Well, and that's where you and I met.
Yes, absolutely.
I think working the Christmas tree hut 1 year, selling Christmas trees for the Optimist Club.
Absolutely.
And no, it was always great to talk to you, because I also wear kind of the marketing hat in our business, and to chat with you, who does it all the time. I love to hear this stuff. And one of the cool things that I think will be fun to hear your take on is the masterful job that I will say Chris and Tammy have done of. And I don't even want to use the word marketing the brewery, but I think it's just bringing awareness and identifying who the brewery is and what it is and why you want to be there, because it's just so amazingly organic.
I wish people could hear my head nod right now, because I'm nodding as you're talking. You're 100% right.
Well, you guys are too kind, but I just asked Gary to be on to get some free advice.
I'm just here for the free drinks.
No, I wish I could take credit for any of that. That's all my wife, Tammy. She is the mastermind there. So,
But to that point, I think Stubborn German has done over the last 8 years, 9 years?
Eight
and a quarter.
8.5,
Then
something, yeah.
that you guys have had it, have really done something to connect with and click with not only your consumers, your customers, but the community. So that's really difficult to do for clients, for customers, for brands, to be able to draw that connection. That's exactly what you want, because now you've got people who are like Kevin right now doing this, and others, myself and others, who become your advocates outside of and away from.
Sure. And I mean, I'll play devil's advocate for a second, but like it's pretty easy to get people to be on board with fun stuff like beer and like hot rods, But it's harder to have people get on board with like divorce attorneys, or you know,
Well, half of them anyway. So here's the thing, though: the different types of products in this world definitely have different types of
sure
followings and connections. And you are fortunate in the sense that people dig beer, people like
we
booze.
picked a good one. Yeah.
Yes, people like to hang out together and socialize,
Sure.
right? But where the challenge becomes is they've got a lot of choices.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's true.
And you have to excel.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I couldn't agree more. And to that point, what you guys do a lot of, I think, are community-based things. So there's things that you do as Stubborn German that are really not being done to sell beer. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. Because you grew up in the community here. You've started a business. You've seen exactly what this community has to offer, and you want to be a part of that, and you guys want to give back and make it better. And those are the things that I actually love about where we live is, you know, the people that will gravitate towards it. People move here for a reason. They like Monroe County. They like Waterloo. They move here for a reason. And I think it's important to take a look at, okay, why is this community the way it is? And then support those things that have made it what it is over the last, whether it's 100 years, 50 years, 25 years, or 8.5 years. And that is really, really key because that's what makes where we live special. You know, when you're talking about the podcast, what was it, a couple ago where you talked about the barbecue, you know, that was, it's all about the community at that point. Mm-hmm. When Stubborn German invites in, you know, hey, go get shorties and bring it next door, you know, order takeout, bring it next door. Go down the street and you can order from, you know, any of the restaurants and bring it up and have a seat. Order pizza, have DoorDash, whatever, have it delivered. Come in, just enjoy.
Right.
You know, that's pretty special, you know, because you're marketing a community, you're marketing a feeling at that point. Sure. So that's what people are being connected to. And the other thing, I got to say, I love the artwork. I really do.
Yeah.
The artwork,
that's awesome.
The,
that's all
the
Brad
labels.
Let's
no
shout
doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But again, a local person in the community.
100%.
Yeah.
And when he took the Stubborn German mascot, or does he have a name?
No, he doesn't yet.
We've been working on that.
We've
We're only 8.5 years into this.
You do want to pace yourself.
We're not in a hurry to name him, obviously.
Right. But when he was modified for the podcast, well, now you see him there and he's got the headphones
Right.
on. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's something small, it's something simple, but it's something that's genius.
Yeah,
as well.
it's almost silly that, you know, it's like, okay, well, what new beer are we making? Okay, you know, shower beer. Okay, well, put him in a shower with his lederhosen hanging up next to the shower curtain.
Yeah, makes sense.
And, you know, so yeah, we have our guy doing all these different, you know, poses and stuff.
Right.
Well, I think a huge advantage to a local type business in a community like Waterloo is people do more than one thing in the community. Right?
Sure.
So you see this kind of cross pollination of personalities that are doing this event, and then they work their day job, and then they're here at the school, and, you know, it all kind of connects. The disadvantage that a global, you know, giant corporation has is the CEO is in his office and you pick the city and has no connection whatsoever
With anything else.
anything else outside of that room, right?
Sure.
And then they try to manufacture that connection,
Right.
And you sniff right through it. You're like, this is just
There's no way this guy
contrived.
does this. Yeah, right.
But in your case, you can just document the daily things that you do as Chris, and everybody else is like, oh, yeah, I've been there, or I'd like to go there. I've heard of that place too, or I want to, you know, seeing whatever you're doing, they bring that with them to the brewery, and they have the same kind of mindset, like, oh, yeah, regular Chris does this. I like this too. We have a connection now over something that could be irrelevant to the beer.
Over the sandwiches next door or whatever. Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, all these silly things that you just find yourself doing and recording are authenticating, you know, the whole experience. And there are people that, and Gary knows this, they are paid a lot of money to try to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, very true. And the key word I think you use is authenticating, because authenticity is you can't purchase authenticity.
Sure,
it's got to be there or it's not, and people will see through it if you try to manufacture it too forcefully.
Right. And some, you know, I don't know, some things, sometimes customers will, I can't think of any specific examples, but they'll have a an idea for us, and it's just like yeah, we could do that, and it wouldn't be that difficult, but that's not us. Like that's not what we do. We do this stuff. So if I go try that, which sometimes it's there's a fine line there between like just expanding your horizons and like we're gonna try to get into something like sour beer.
Podcasting.
Pumpkin
Some
beer.
things work. Some things
Pumpkin
beer.
Well, I think the good thing there, though, is that the ultimate ace in the hole is you do brew a great beer.
Well, thank you.
And there's a bunch of different kinds. And if, so you've got the beer side where if somebody, you've got a really good chance to like something there, even if you've never had it.
Sure.
And at least if you don't like it, it's not high quality. It's not a high quality problem.
Sure.
Everything on
It's
tap
not
is crafted with care.
Yeah.
It might not be your flavor, but it's not garbage,
Right.
And then the other side of that is the way you treat people there.
Yeah.
So if somebody's never been there, we've had this conversation a bunch of times. You know how it is, Gary, when you go into a brewery that only has their own product and you don't even know where to start. And sometimes, depending on the atmosphere, you're afraid to ask.
Right. You don't want to seem like you are uneducated. Like, do I ask that? I don't want to seem like I'm not smart about this.
Yeah, I have to have a PhD in beer styles in order to find a beer I want.
Yeah, I'm an outsider. I just don't fit in here, and I'm nervous. So the staff at the Stubborn always, they love to tell the stories of the beer and find out what you like, and there's no judgment. Like, why would you drink that with this? Whatever.
And if the staff are too busy, the regulars will give you the same education.
That's very true.
Our regulars are great. I've seen that more than a few times. You want that? Yeah, that's a good one. It's got this, and they know all about it.
Yeah, that is true.
The other thing I love too is the different diverse beers that Stubborn German produces. I was like, I always fancied myself like blueberry wheat. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
your blueberry wheat is absolutely my favorite. I love that one. But last Christmas it was the vanilla bourbon chocolate stout.
Oh yeah, chocolate vanilla bourbon stout. Yep.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm not a big heavy beer guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Good, you redeemed yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Chris initially is like, the blueberry, really?
We're gonna lead with blueberry.
Well, no, but then I started to broaden my horizons.
Kick Kevin. Gary's got to go.
Right.
Yeah, but look what he came back
thanks,
with, man. He
man.
came
Yeah.
back with a good
He
one.
came back strong. Yeah.
And then there was another one. It was like some cinnamon Bach or heavy. It was around Christmas.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'm trying
Probably
to think
the
Well,
cotton-headed mini muggins. That's very
got
cinnamony.
cinnamon.
No, I don't think. I can't remember what it was. Served in like a 6-ounce glass. It was
Oh,
a
it was
smaller
probably
glass.
another stout, I guess.
It was. It was
Yeah.
another heavy one.
Which
But
one was
wow. And so I'm drinking these. I'm
Cinnamon
Yeah.
coconut.
like, I never.
Cinnamon
It
coconut
was.
stout?
It's the
Yeah.
coconut.
Yep.
Cinnamon coconut.
Smokonut?
stout.
Yeah. What?
Smoking nuts.
Smoking nut. That's something
I
else.
thought that's what you said. That's why I said what. I gotta hear that
You
again.
just got to write that down.
Right.
This is another one of those suggestions where he's like, yeah, we'll do that. Right.
So, but no, and so
Smoking
that allows people to kind of
Yeah.
broaden their perspective, horizons,
Sure.
on what they're trying, and the environment is great too. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not sure I like this. Okay, great, try this one, or I like a heavier beer. I was blown away. My wife was like, she's like this IPA fan now.
Really?
And I'm like, really? You like
Wow.
IPAs?
That's
And she's
awesome.
Double IPAs, and she's all about it. She loves them.
Like just recently, all of a sudden, or
In like the last year.
Tammy is the same way. Within the
Really?
last year, she all of a sudden likes IPAs.
It's COVID, I think.
It might be COVID.
Could be.
And by the way, if you want to be in the in club, you call them EPAs.
Yeah. They're not IPAs. They're
Yes,
IPAs.
IPAs.
I was in California, and a guy offered an EPA. A server came up, and the guy I was having dinner with said, "Hey, what do you got on the beer menu?" And he said, "Well, we have this EPA." And we both looked at each other like, "What?"
Shouldn't it be IPA?
But, hey, could be. I don't know.
Could be that too.
Maybe in the South.
So, true.
IPA.
IPA. Who
None of
knows?
them are right.
The one other thing I wanted to touch on too, with regards to what you guys do that I think is very strong. So Stubborn Fest.
Oh yeah.
Love
Huge.
Stubborn Fest. I mean, it's an amazing time to come out. I mean, I bought it's a fake lederhosen outfit, but I bought like a lederhosen outfit to wear.
Plederhosen.
Pretty much, yeah. It's pleatherhosen. Yeah.
Leather.
I got a little accordion that I bring with me. I got the hat, and I love it. I'm like, this is
right. the
one of my
accordion.
favorite
Oh,
things to
that's
do,
right.
which
I
is
forgot about that.
I love coming up there for that. And it was about 3 hours. I can't remember how long ago it was. I'm there, and I'm walking down the street, and it was the year you had Schneider's there, I think, selling meats.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the line for people to get their bratwurst from Schneider's, and there's a gal that I worked with in Clayton, Missouri, who lives in St. Peters, Missouri.
Oh, no way.
And she was in line. I'm like, her name is Melanie. I'm like, Mel, how you doing? She's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I live like
here.
2 miles from here. What are you doing here?
This is my place.
She came to make the trip.
She came to make the trip.
That's so cool.
And then this past April, we've got a client that does feed flavorings for equine, swine, bees, aquaculture.
Bees like the blueberry, too.
Bees like, and
pumpkin.
They're located in Fenton, and I get a call from them, and I just pick it up. It's just, hey, Kevin, how you doing? Hey, my wife and I took the day off. My wife and I are up here at Stubborn German. Come on up, have a beer with us.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm like,
Absolutely.
all right, sure.
I'll be right there.
So, I mean,
That's funny.
People love that.
Sure.
The destination
Yeah.
aspect
Yeah.
of it, too, which is great.
That's one of the things I've noticed over the years, and we've talked about this before, that the community aspect that Stubborn German brings to Waterloo, but whether it's Stubborn Fest, like you said, or kind of the partnerships that you guys have, Feathers Farm, they drop off their produce at the brewery, or Pie Hard, the only place they deliver is to Stubborn German, things like that kind of bring people there, and you see people from all walks of life that you might not even realize, oh, I didn't know you drank craft beer, but because you've got such a wide selection, something for everybody, really. It's just, over the years, you guys have just built this kind of following of the community, and it's not just Waterloo. People from all over come
far
out
and
for
wide.
it. Yeah.
Truly so.
And that is, it's funny because I think the greatest part about this is this was not an analysis that you and Tammy did before you started this. Of, look, we're going to check all these boxes somehow.
No.
It just kind of happened, and that's the beauty of it.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Netflix special on the Garth Brooks bar in Nashville.
No.
You familiar with this?
No.
All right. It's worth watching, whether or not you're a Garth Brooks fan or not. But in Nashville, there's now a bar called Friends in Low Places.
Nice. Okay.
And Garth and his wife, Trisha Yearwood, purchased an old establishment and gutted it and built this giant theme, multi-floor drinking establishment with, of course, a stage and everything Nashville is with everything Garth Brooks is and everything Trisha Yearwood is with her food and the whole thing. And I'm watching this. Yeah, apparently. She's got 18 years of cooking shows.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, I didn't know it either until I watched this. But this is the behind-the-scenes look at somebody who does not have this organic growth of, hey, I make beer and bring it to my friends' parties, and it turns out they like it. This is the experience we're going to create for these people, right? Instead of them creating it for themselves around what you do,
right?
So there
it's
was
more of how are we going to get people in the door today and hook them in and that kind of
and it's not so much like let's hook them in and sell them, but it's like they talk quite a bit about what makes a real honky tonk. We need to put this has to be a honky tonk.
So they're trying to be authentic honky tonk or whatever,
right? But with a brand new, it's got to be a $20 million facility that doesn't really say anything to a honky tonk.
Yeah, honky tonk would be like some $40,000 shed in the middle of nowhere that
exactly
built a stage and
you tipped over some tables and now
you got chicken wire in front of the band.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like bars, a piece of plywood over a couple barrels or something.
Yes. So, and Brooks is talking about that experience, but meanwhile they're showing what they're building, and it's not that.
Yeah.
And I'm not faulting them, or just a commentary that
it's great
to make that connection. How do you launch something new that's supposed to feel like it's been here the whole time,
right.
and have this stuff? And you get to really see what a challenge that is. You'd love it. It's a good
to check it out.
Yeah, and Chris would probably make your skin crawl because you've been through building a bar before, and you'd be like, oh no, and you don't have his wallet either, which is
well. I was gonna say Garth's not there like digging holes in the basement floor or something like I was, right?
Now, because I know how television is made, I know
that he was doing the work, but not really doing the work.
Well, he was very, very involved and,
Gotcha.
and very present,
and
made a lot of decisions, and it wasn't just, hey, I'm going to put my name on this and walk out. So,
right.
so they were, and I have to hand it to him for that.
Well, you could very easily just, hey,
sub it out.
Go build a bar and call it this. Yeah.
So there's a lot of the secret sauce there.
That's cool.
But one of the things I thought was interesting is the opening day deadline. It's TV, you got a deadline. I think it's 5 or 6 episode series. And Garth wouldn't move on the deadline, and they've got all this stuff that's got to happen. And they asked him, they're like, well, look, every day that this bar isn't open is days we're not making money. But then I look at Garth Brooks, he's,
Go play one show.
yeah, exactly. Just so what's the deal, right? And he had an interesting line. He said, look, when we tour, the very first night, we're on. There's no soft opening of a concert tour. So there's no soft opening here.
Right.
This is the day, and it's going to happen. And I thought that was kind of cool. So
very cool. And
good
that's
analogy.
very him.
Yeah.
Very him.
That
was
him.
some of that personality put into that.
Anyway, it's a great kind of parallel universe to see how somebody else did it, their way. But then all the stuff that Gary's talking about the authenticity of the experience and everything, was all built in a year, start to finish. Boom. Wow. And that's not how you did it, because yours is, in my opinion, far more authentic than that.
Well, and I don't know, a lot of ours is dumb luck too, because before we had keys to the building that we're in, we had nothing to do except promote and brew beer and give beer away. So we're building all that hype and momentum and authenticity and whatever you want to call it. And we had nothing else to do. So if you can put all of your time and efforts into just that, as I'm developing recipes, she's talking about how we're developing recipes, and then we're giving beer to your party, and we're going, so it's...
Sure, but that didn't stop when the doors opened.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It continues
and probably
to...
that's the way we found success, and we just kept on going. We're not, smart at this.
All right, so let's throw one at Gary. So if you are and one of the things I envy about your business is you have a walk-in customer base. People come in, they have an experience while they're there. They can buy your beer and take it with them in cans if they want, but it's a very social thing. My small business is they drop something off, and then it's a lot of phone calls and emails. It's hard for us to invite the public into our shop and hang out all day and drink and tell stories, and because it's not what we do. And I envy that. I also envy,
because it'd be way easier if you could.
Well, I'm not saying it's easier, but it's just it's fun. It's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also kind of envy the transaction that you guys have, where it's like, what do you want? I want a beer. Which one? This one. Here it is. Give me the money. Here's the beer. You're done. Or you're here all night. Or you'll be back tomorrow. In my case, when you restore a car over 2 years, there's 20,000 decisions that have to be made, and all this kind of stuff. So the simplicity of it, matters.
Sure. Sure.
But looking at Gary, so what does a business do if they have a similar type profile of Chris? Maybe it's somebody who interacts with the public quite a bit, who wants to improve their situation and project more of that authenticity.
So that's a great question. And honestly, for me, I sincerely feel it comes down to having a strategic approach. Strategy is the one thing that almost anybody can get on a layout and a design program and put something together and put it out to announce something or to lay something out. But back up from that, and it all really comes to what's the idea? What's the genesis of what we want to do? What's the idea? And then now we're going to take a look out 5 steps. Where do we want to be at? And then you kind of back up and go, okay, we know where we're starting from. We know where we want to get to. What is that roadmap? What's the process? What's the way we are going to strategically take a look at trying to get there? And I think strategy in marketing today is the one thing that is probably most overlooked, quite honestly.
Or least understood.
And least understood, that's a good way of putting it. And I'm looking at the 3 of us around the table, too. Chris, Tammy is very involved with Stubborn German. It's a partnership. You guys are both into it.
Yeah.
Kevin, you and Kelly, same way with V8 Resto. I mean, you guys are there, you're in it. I'm very fortunate with Marketicity that Angela, my wife, is 100% in. This is what we're doing, and this is how what are we going to do to make it the best we can make it. If you don't have that support, or maybe a better way to put it is, if your spouse or your partners and your business are really focusing on something else, then who's going to drive the vision? Somebody's got to really be there to drive the vision, which kind of is the strategy for it. And
somebody's got to be there to figure out what that vision is.
Yeah, and quite honestly, a lot of times it's man, you cannot underestimate brainstorming. Just getting together, even if it's people within your category or with outside your category, whether it's friends, just talking about it. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What about this? And even professionally, if 50% of our ideas are good ideas and they stick,
that's huge.
That is amazing. It really is.
I'm at about 0.3% right now. A lot of them,
but those brainstorming sessions, we always talk about. There's really not a bad idea. There's an idea that might not work in this instance, but every idea is going to lead us to something else. So when we're sitting around, I love whiteboards. We've got them at the office, got them in my office over my desk. We got a large one that we get out in our conference area. And it's just get the markers out, the expo markers, start writing, drawing lines. In my opinion, you can think, or at least I can think a lot faster when I've got an expo marker in my hand. I'm able to draw lines and notes and arrows and sketch something out and then move on to the next thing. That is part of the process for us that just works. And so it's getting to that helps us outline what are we doing, and then you kind of hone it down, refine it, and get that strategy applied to those different concepts.
So who should be involved in the brainstorming sessions?
It's a great question. I mean, I think key stakeholders, definitely. And stakeholders, when I think about that, for a lot of our clients, it is, it's a general manager, it's an owner, it's a head of sales, it's a head of marketing, something along those lines. Maybe it's operations or research, depending on what the project is. But honestly, people who are frontline people as well, I think is very important. You talked about somebody kind of in an ivory tower thinking this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to go this direction. And I think it's easy to see how that can blow up when you're not associated. One of my favorite campaigns goes back to Herb Kelleher with Southwest Airlines way back in the day. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was in the 70s maybe. There was 2 companies, airlines, that were using the phrase just plain smart. And one was Southwest Airlines.
PLANE. By the way.
Yes. And there was another one, was like a small business commuter airline. And rather than take it to court, what they did is they made a giant kind of PR campaign out of it. And Herb Kelleher was like 65, 70 years old. And the guy that ran this other company was like in his 30s. He was a big, muscular, bodybuilding kind of guy. Herb was not. And so they showed Herb, they decided they were going to decide who gets to use that based on an arm wrestling contest.
Nice.
And they had a bunch of build-up around that. And then they showed them both working out, and the younger guy's pumping iron, and they showed Herb Kelleher, and he's got handles of bourbon.
Yeah,
he's literally lifting them like he's doing curls with them. Herb loses, and they decide, we can both use the thing. But this is 45 years ago, 40 years ago, those types of things.
They made something out of what could have been nothing.
Yeah.
Or could have been negative.
Or could have been
negative.
Yeah. Right.
So, why fight about it when you can have? But I think that goes to, in a weird way, the people on the front line who are probably like, that's not who we are as an airline. Let's reinforce the good, reinforce the positive. So, with Stubborn German, you've got your people that are serving all the time. They might have great ideas on flavors, marketing, names, whatever.
Right.
Or
well, they're the data acquisition division, man. They're hearing from the customers all day long.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Just last week we had, we don't do this near enough as we ought to, but we had all the staff get together at the brewery. It was a Monday. We're already closed. And, well, I think just a little over half of the team could actually make it. But it was all good. But anyway, that was kind of the point of that, was to just sit there and talk, have a few beers, and just kind of eventually we kind of coaxed the what I needed out of them, which was that information. What do people not like? What do they like? What do they want that we don't have? All that stuff. So
and a lot of times it's good to do that in your setting because it is a bar. It's friendly. Just the vibe is inherently fun and relaxed.
Sure.
And I think for a lot of companies, depending on what they do, sometimes it's good to get off-site.
Yeah.
Go someplace fun. Maybe go to a bar or go to, some type of event or place where you can just kind of relax and, drop the formality of the day.
Right. Yeah, we've done that too. We've done this quite a few times, gone up to like Reif Schneider's and just got everyone's dinner, and they have our beer on tap there, so they can have our beer or not. And then I always make sure
watching.
to judge really heavily and make sure everyone's drinking our beer, of course.
Right, there you go.
But and that's something that again we don't do near enough. But
did you learn anything earth shattering?
Not earth shattering, but every time we do it, we have some kind of subtle change. So yeah. I guess I don't know. Kind of the most fun was I just bought a cocktail smoker, but one that's way more simple than this other one that I had. I had a different one, and I was like, "This is so complicated. I don't know how I would expect any of our bartenders to pull this off in a timely manner with a long line." This is like, "Oh, you want this smoked? It's an extra $1. Okay." And it's done.
Yeah, right.
So, and here's smoke. Here's your drink, and still the same show and everything. I'm like, so we mixed up a few cocktails. We smoked them. We tried them with the smoke on them, and yeah, it was really good. And so I don't know. That was kind of fun to play with that while we were there. But that was already kind of in my head that we would do it. But they did have a few ideas on how to, the process and how to pull that off because I didn't really know how.
Sure.
Well, and they probably see a lot of things any company. Kevin, probably with yours too. Is there an efficiency that's there that maybe you don't think about sometimes and somebody brings you the idea?
Or 100%. Just because I know how to do something doesn't mean I know how to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
all the time.
True.
The people that are doing the stuff are the ones that are figuring it out. And I'll tell you, that two-way feedback of finding out how people are doing what they do is so valuable because people will do things in a way that they don't like or isn't the greatest way, and they'll do it begrudgingly because that's what they were told, and they don't want to let you down, or they're afraid for their job, or whatever it is. And if you just step back and go, hey, how would you do this? I would lose this. I'd get this other smoker, man. Look at this. And you'd be like, okay. Well, I thought you'd be mad. No.
Oh, that totally happened. I think everyone else was gone. It was me and two of the other bartenders were just left, and everybody else was gone. We're like, the last couple. We're finishing up our drinks, and we're about ready to leave. And they're both just like, yeah, we really ought to move this off of this, liquor out of the rail and put it somewhere else. And man, we haven't sold this in 10 years, and I don't know. And I'm just like, wait,
really?
Do it? Like, don't wait for me. Like,
you're empowered.
Go ahead and do it, man. Like, anytime. So
That's
I tried
great.
to make some mental notes, and the next day I moved all that junk around, and then I said on the staff Facebook page, like, you guys are free to move anything around wherever you want. Just let us know what you did so we can inform the rest of the gang.
And I would have to think, too, that they appreciate that because all of a sudden we're heard.
Sure.
And now we're a closer part. We're heard, we're understood, we're part.
Well,
they see us as partners.
I hate that
they
they
get ownership.
Yeah, I hate that they had this pent up, aggression toward the bottles that I chose to put in the rail. I'm not the bartender.
That's
I don't
know. You're kind of difficult.
Well, why would I care what's
we had one client
quickly available to them,
last year in January where they let us come in and interview their customer service department, their sales department, and another group of field workers. They let us come in and just talk to them, and it's amazing the information you can draw out and you can get, and it sheds some light on things that.
Are you promising I'm anonymous? Did you get that?
Yes, we did, actually. We got that a whole lot. You got a whole lot of squirming in chairs before people would answer. But I think once they realize that there's freedom to talk, there's so many great ideas there. And again, you got to mill through them, you sift through them, and the good ones kind of are the ones that maybe are most appropriate, rise up. But we had a couple really good strategies that came out of that for this particular client, and it was wonderful.
That's
great.
Cool.
I have a question for Gary that may put Chris and Kevin on the spot a little bit. So get ready.
Bring it. You're always bringing the heat.
When you hear things like Tammy does the marketing at Stubborn and Kevin's in charge of marketing at V8 or whoever, does that, I won't say make you cringe, but at some point, when does a small business owner need to get in touch with a marketing firm to help? When do you recognize those stages of okay, it's time, guys, you need to talk to us?
I think there's two answers to that. And it's a great question. I think the first answer is we always tell our clients we will never know your business as well as you know your business. But we know marketing. And once we are learning more about your business and more about your business, then we start to take the marketing principles that we know and work on and hone and apply it to your business. And I think that's key. The other thing as far as our approach is we love working with companies that have an existing marketing person or department, regardless of size, because we like bringing that extra horsepower That's how we refer to it. We'll bring extra marketing horsepower to what they need and what they're doing, just because they can't get things done, or maybe they're not thinking about things a certain way. So we love it when our clients are that vested that they have folks that are responsible for it, as long as those folks are open to new ideas. They're like, nope, can't do it because of X. Nope, can't do it because Y. Well,
then don't pay me. Yeah,
yeah, and that's fine. That's okay.
Right.
But I think as long as, for a company, as long as what you're doing is working and you're not feeling like you're leaving opportunities on the table unexplored or unexecuted, then I think you're doing good. But if you're looking at it as like, I wonder if we brought in a marketing firm and gave them, a small project to prove themselves, what do they know about us? How would they interact? How would they work, et cetera? I think that's a good exploration for companies.
That's a good foot in the door type situation for.
I think it works well for everybody. Yeah. You'll see a lot of.
Well, you probably have businesses that you have worked for and don't want to ever work for again either. So I bet it's a two-way.
We fired clients before. Yeah. we have,
and you should. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just when you see the phone number pop up and you just or the email come in, and you kind of get a knot in your stomach. It's like, okay, this isn't working, and it's probably not working for them, which means there's a better way for both of us.
Right.
It doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. But, it has happened before. So
sure.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Over a career, there's probably people you've asked, don't come in anymore. Or maybe somebody you don't want to work on their car anymore, or new cars. Or I think that's with any business, quite honestly.
Right. Well, it's just got to be the right fit.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And not every key fits every lock.
Yeah. The guy that comes in, pounding his fist looking for Natty Light or nothing at the Stubborn probably isn't a good fit.
I say, no, I'm with you. We're going to go find one. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Not that there's anything wrong with Natty Light.
Kick him out the door and lock it.
You just don't have it there. Not the right place to get it.
Exactly.
But can a local business come to you guys for kind of any level of assistance or help with marketing? Like maybe it's just consulting for a day, or maybe it's you guys take on an entire marketing campaign of...
Yes, and the way we like to do it is, let's take a look at what the project what the initiative is, and a lot of times there's two ways to approach it. It's either one, you do it based on kind of like an hourly basis. We think it's going to take 2 or 3 hours to do this, and this is what that would cost, or here's the overall cost to execute a specific project. So we take a look at it both ways, but it's got to be right. So that's how we kind of have worked forever.
Yeah.
And I've owned Marketicity for 10 years, worked there for another 2, and been with other agencies prior to that. So it's kind of nice. You kind of develop that experience in working with some of those clients in some of those settings and those opportunities too. So cool. We had a spirits client that worked on spirits for a lot in my career. And I left an agency a number of years ago and decided I was going to call this client back. Kind of the non-compete had expired. And called her back, and I'm like, hey, Lori, what can, just wanted to touch base, how you're doing, blah. She's like, when can you get up here? They're in Chicago. And their headquarters is in Louisiana. Might tell you who it is a little bit.
Oh, yeah, actually, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so, but she's like, how quick can you get up here? And I'm like, okay, great. That lets you know that you did something right in those interactions with those companies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's fun.
There's a lot of charlatans out there these days because marketing's popular and everybody feels like they're lacking, business owners. And you see a lot of advertisements online like, hey, we can help you with your digital marketing and, we can increase the ROI and we can, SEO the website and do all the buzzwords. And a lot of people don't know anything about this stuff, but they feel like they have to. So what would you tell somebody, some information that they can use to help qualify a legit, reputable agency like yourselves so that they don't end up spending a bunch of money and not get anything or not get what they want?
Sure. No, that's a great question. That's something we do run into because there are all of those buzzwords and people don't know what they mean. They kind of feel like they should know what they mean, and I don't want to seem like I don't know what they mean. But I think one, just for clients or customers to Google search it and just play with it a little bit. And then know if you don't have the right answer when you're talking to somebody, that's fine. The digital space is just ever evolving. It really is. It really honestly is. And so making sure that your partner that you're working with in that space is evolving as well. And I think one way to do that is case studies. Can they share case studies? Here's a specific challenge we have with this client, and it might not match up 100% to what your challenge is, but here's the challenge that we had, here's what we did, here's what we're doing, here's the results. And I think that's key. And then also testimonials. I would look at references from them. Who are they working with, and what do those folks say about them? The charlatan, that's a good way to put it. It's very tough. And ultimately, I think, Kevin, it kind of comes down to feel. You're going to know in your gut if you're feeling like, I don't know if I can trust this person, or okay, there's salesmen out there all the time, for sure. But I think trust your gut a little bit too when it comes to that.
Yeah,
would be some advice I would have for that. So, and the other thing too when it comes to the digital space is we are always trying to make sure that if we do one project, one execution, one layout, one design, whatever, that it's got multiple uses. So if it's just here's one, it's a one-off, maybe that's relevant for a project. But if we're generating artwork or strategy, how does that apply to a second, a third, a fourth, or a fifth use? Are we using that?
That's great.
Information for a blog? Is that blog then posted on our website? Is it then shared out to our social media? Is it then shared into an email newsletter or some other type of printed publication? And are we then doing some follow-ups on it?
Yeah.
That one piece of work should do a lot of
If you have this
lifting.
one little gold nugget, but it doesn't get anywhere because you didn't put it on the right, social
Channels,
media
yeah.
formats or whatever, then what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
For us, I was very pleased when you said you saw the social media post. You're like, I'll give him a call. Because it truly is in marketing sometimes, the old cobbler's kids have no shoes type of story. We're busy working on other people's
So you don't
business.
market your own business. Yeah.
We don't market our own as much as
Right.
we should.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I saw
so
it.
that's
I
good.
read
So
it.
thank you.
Read through it.
I
Yep.
really
It was
appreciate
interesting. It was cool.
So
I liked your coverage of the water tower in Waterloo.
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was, and that was another one that came from a client who said, they are in the bunker building space. They build buildings and things like that. And we really want to do some.
He says from the bunker. I love it.
From the bunker.
One like this.
They wanted some time lapse videos. We'd never really done that before, so we explored it and figured it out. Went out and got what we needed to do, and
That's cool.
And do it. So we're using it, and we're using that tomorrow. So talk about using the same type of opportunity over multiple things. I'm so excited because tomorrow we've got a photo shoot where we are going to be at a quarry where we get to film a blast.
Oh,
a
sweet.
quarry blast.
Nice.
And I am so excited about this.
That's awesome.
And we're like, okay, how many cameras do we have? Drones, time lapse, phones. We got to have everything going because we can't ask them to put everything back and then do it again. Yeah. So
we didn't really get that.
So so even all these years in, there's still those things that just get you excited.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is fun. This is great.
Yeah, it is cool.
So,
That's great. Very cool.
those types of things. And again, that energy then spills over into other projects that we work on. So
It's interesting in your shoes because your business doesn't have products on a shelf. And when somebody comes to you, you're going to create the product for them based on their stuff. So it's a tricky message to, articulate what your place is in somebody's business or your partnership.
What we're selling is our brain power. And we talked about strategy, how we can apply that strategy to them.
I wish I could do that.
And
If I only had a brain.
You got to have brain power, Chris.
but one of the other things we do to kind of fill that in is, okay, you can, even if you've got all the best ideas, if you're not easy to work with or you're a jerk, nobody's going to want to work with you.
Or you can't execute.
So planning, execution is good. Project management has to be there. And one of the things I like to say with our clients is I look at it as kind of like the 95-5 rule is something how I refer to it. 95% of our clients' time, even if they're head of marketing, is spent on research, development, HR, supply chain problems, you name it. There's
Working
all these
on
other
and in
things.
the business, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, as a business owner.
When they get to that 5%, that's the marketing part, I want that to be just the best part of their day for them to go, this is awesome. We like this. this is what that's what keeps them excited. So, that's how we try to approach it for our clients. I would want that if I owned, a company and needed to hire a marketing firm. So, that's how we try to approach it. We put ourselves in their shoes.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Cool. So
that is cool.
It's fun. It's very fun.
Are you guys ready?
Did you learn something?
No, but yes, of course I learned things. But I have rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah. Did you see me over here doing show prep during the show?
I saw you typing.
I know. I was
over
like,
there.
oh crap!
I saw you typing. I thought you were typing down what Gary was saying. I'm like, dude, you can listen to this later.
Well, that's the
play it
plan.
back for you.
That's why I was like, well, I can zone out and do this because I'll listen to it later. So yeah, sorry about that. But here, so rapid fire questions. So I only have a few, but the point is to just kind of quickly answer the first thing that comes to your brain. Your mind. Yeah, use your brain power that you sell.
That you have so much extra of that you can just sell it.
You can just go sell it. I'm a little jealous. Okay, favorite bourbon?
I need to think about that. I told you earlier, I'm more of a rum person.
Oh,
I love
right.
rums. I love rums.
Okay.
But honestly, this
is doing it for you?
This has been amazing.
He's got the Starlight
Toasted
which
barrel.
was our bourbon of the week last week, actually. Yeah,
that's amazing. So I do
so
like
that's your favorite one. The one in front of you, that's always my
right
favorite.
now.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'll take. What's your favorite rum?
What's my favorite rum? Ron del Barlito. It's a smaller distillery out of Puerto Rico. And then there's
what's your drink?
Brugal. It depends. If it's a cheaper rum, it's just rum and Coke. But my favorite drink is, you ever see those Bays? BAI. It's like a water, antioxidant water drink.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got coconut mango, coconut pineapple, Bays. So you take that with spiced rum and then some coconut rum, and then you put that over the top on ice. It'll treat you right. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty good. So,
And where do you find the rum that you just said?
I've got like 15 or 8.
He's got a guy.
Yeah, I got a guy. My rum selection is not as good as your bourbon selection, but I'm working towards it.
But I mean, can you go to Schnucks and find them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
They've got good ones there.
Okay.
Or a number of different places.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. All right. That was your favorite bourbon. So
That's my favorite bourbon, rum.
on to the next one. So far, we're not very rapid.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, that was
That's
my
okay.
fault.
You don't
I'll work
have
on
to
it.
be.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
Scooby said bourbon is rummy.
You have one last meal. I've been watching the replays of Prison Break that just came out on Netflix. So
Okay.
I'm like on the last meal. So one last
Pizza.
meal in Waterloo. Where are you going? And what are you getting?
I'm going to Pie Hard
Okay.
and any
There's no wrong answer.
pizza. I
Just
love
get a
Pie Hard.
pizza.
Pizza
All right.
at Pie Hard. I
I'm
love
with you.
those.
Yep. That's not bad. Okay. As a kid, your favorite ad campaign that you just kind of always remember, like, man, that was really cool, or that got me into what I'm doing now.
Man, I want to play.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh,
It's really not an ad campaign, but it was more PR. I loved Schoolhouse Rock.
Really?
It was just so much fun. I mean, are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
You're younger. Okay. If but nar, I'll get you pretty far, and just a bill on Capitol Hill, and all of those are just amazing. I love those.
Go ahead, Kevin. I can.
You will see.
You're oozing.
You will see why 1984 won't be like 1984. That was the very first
was great.
Macintosh commercial
Yeah.
Oh, really?
in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
No
that was
way.
with the giant screen of Big Brother, the black and white image of this stoic Soviet-looking dude is talking, and there's a giant arena full of just drones staring at him. These zombies, and this woman in basically Olympic garb, because '84 was the Los Angeles Olympics year.
Yeah.
She comes in and she's a hammer thrower, so she's got the big thing on the stick and she's spinning it around and she swings it and throws it and it shatters that screen. Right, and the tagline is, "You will see." And it gave the date. I think it's on February.
Yeah, whatever.
February 21st. You will find out why 1984 won't be like 1984, and they're referring to the George Orwell book 1984. And the coming year of '84, when they launched the Macintosh, is going to be different because Macintosh at that point was up against IBM, which was all text based.
Right,
and IBM's nickname was Big Blue at that point, and they were very ultimate in corporate, non-creative, non-individual expression, and she came and shattered all that. It was done by Chiat Day. You can find it on YouTube, but
gosh, I feel like I have to now.
it's a good ad.
Yeah, it's like an
awesome.
iconic ad. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very descriptive. Okay,
I was into Tony the Tiger, by the way. Just
They're great. Thurl Ravenscroft
Just saying.
was the voice actor.
Yeah.
Okay, worst ad campaign. Just what was a total flop that you're just like, you still giggle over? Like, I can't even believe that happened.
You can say Tony the Tiger. It's okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can't believe they marketed the Mustang 2.
Just a little trivia. What was the
Listen to that V8.
most popular Mustang next to the original? It's the Mustang 2.
Was it really?
It was the right car at the right time. Yeah, they sold 400 and some thousand of them in the first year.
It's
Yeah.
just not a good-looking car.
No,
V6.
tells you the state of the world at that point.
True.
It was
So it would have been
horrible.
76, 77? 77, 78?
74 was the first year.
74,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
But Cue Ball Clark's favorite
Yes,
Mustang, right?
Baby Blue, no less. Because he had a personal experience
Yep.
when his mom had one. So it doesn't matter what the product is. If you have a good experience,
Then that's the one.
True.
then it works. Do you guys remember the really weird Qdoba commercial from a few years ago? There was like these singing weird puppet
Mice?
things. It was some kind of
I
goofy,
don't remember that.
weird
Was
thing.
that they got a pepper bar, that one?
It might have been.
Was
It
that
was just
Qdoba?
creepy.
Was it Qdoba or Quiznos?
It was Quiznos.
Quiznos.
They
Yes.
got a pepper bar.
Yeah, they were weird. I'm like, you're using small rodents
Yes.
to market
Yeah.
a fast food-ish.
Yeah.
I love that. I
chain.
still think of the pepper bar whenever.
So it was a good campaign
So
for you,
it worked.
horrible for me. And
I didn't care that they were mice. I didn't even put that together.
I have a Quiznos story, but when you're done with your rapid fire, we'll come back to
I only have
Quiznos.
two more. Okay. Favorite German style of beer?
I like your shits and giggles.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep.
Great. Favorite band at Stubbornfest?
It's oh shoot, what's the? I can't think of the name.
Which what night?
Boys and Beer Band.
Bulls and Beer
Bulls
Band?
and Beer
Yeah.
Band.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, got the T-shirt.
Yeah,
danced in front. When he walked off the stage with the tuba,
went into the John
into the Johnny on the spot,
porta
keep
potty.
playing.
Yeah,
And
played
then
played
come
the
back
tuba
out.
solo in. The,
Yeah.
at least you thought it was a tuba.
well, I'm not really sure.
I don't know, the Boys and Beer Band.
Oh, it's amazing.
Boys and beer.
Love that.
Boys in the Hood.
Olsen
Beer
Olsen
Band.
Band. Okay, what's your Quiznos story?
Well, okay. Maybe you know or you don't know. Quiznos have rapidly gone away, right?
Yeah, I've
so
noticed that.
there's none around. A guy that I work with, he and I have been Quiznos fans for a long time now, and we're very sad about the fact that you can't find one anymore. The only one in St. Louis is in Edwardsville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was one in Highland, and that closed a couple years ago, and all the ones have closed. And it's just been the reasoning behind it is multi-layered. But
That commercial.
the mice.
yeah, basically that commercial.
rodents in the kitchen.
But this friend and I went on a road trip a couple weeks ago to go to a music store, a giant guitar fest thing in Indiana. And there is a Quiznos along the way on this trip, and it's like the only one that's open. And so we were like, we're going to go to this Quiznos. So we went, and there's nobody in the parking lot. Nobody's there. We go in, there's nobody behind the counter, and there's somebody sitting in the back room, and she kind of peeks her head out and sees that we're in there.
Having a cigarette.
You can
Yeah.
go make a sandwich if you want.
And this looks like what is probably the owner.
Yeah.
And she comes out, and I think maybe her daughter was back there too, and she comes out.
It's also a daycare.
Yeah. and it was
DVD rental.
Those are fun.
it was sad in the sense that like you can tell this place isn't going to be around any longer,
Right.
but it's their fault. Like it's partly the corporate
Sure.
fault. Like they did all these things that are affecting these franchisees. But
Did you get
this
their last
particular
sandwich?
one, I might have.
Did you get any peppers? From the
Well,
pepper bar?
here's the thing. So they have their pepper bar, right? Like that's the whole thing. It's out at the end, and you put your own stuff on. Totally nothing there. There's no peppers. Nothing's out.
Really?
Even the toppings, like after they toast your sub, then there's like the lettuce and onions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. The lids were on all that stuff, and they didn't even offer. Like there was no, do you want lettuce? Do you want? They just
Here's
wrapped
your
up your
meat with
sandwich
cheese
and
and
said,
that's
"Here you
it?"
go."
Meat, cheese, and mayo.
And we just thought like, well, there's no wonder there's no one here. No wonder you're struggling. Like.
Right.
If, at least try, like,
Yeah.
but they're not even trying. They're just going through the motions, and I don't know, what's going on behind the scenes, but it was just like, really, there's only one. You're the oasis. You're the one Quiznos that could do it
You were
for
looking so
everybody, and you're
forward
just
to it.
ruining
you were
it
the,
for
they were
everyone.
the shining star on
Yes,
the horizon. You
yeah.
got there and were
Yeah, at least the last Blockbuster
stinks.
was packed.
Right. Yes. So anyway, it was a bummer, but
it is. Man.
Interesting.
the last Quiznos.
Well, if Quiznos would call Gary over at Marketicity, man, he could turn all that around.
Telling
They
you.
probably could.
First thing we do is make sure you get rid of the rodents.
They could buy some brains, spin that sucker right around. I think that's a new tagline for you. Marketicity.
Buy some brains.
Kind of like that.
How
Might get some
can
weird calls.
Yeah, it's true.
how can a local business that maybe listens to this podcast religiously, how can they get a hold of you and get something going? What do they do?
They can check us out online, marketicity.com.
Okay.
MARKETICITY. They can give us a call, 281-6648,
Yeah.
618, so we're local.
Are there walk-ins?
Oddly enough, 10 years ago, when we bought the company, my wife and I bought the company, we had a number of employees, and everybody was kind of like, we're interested in kind of going remote, flex time, et cetera.
Yep.
And so in the 2 years I had worked there previous to that, we'd only had really 2 or 3 client meetings in that brick and mortar part. So we decided to go remote, and everybody did. So now everybody kind of works out of their own homes.
But you can feel free to have meetings at Stubborn German.
Sure,
We
yeah.
will have them at Stubborn
spot to do
German.
it.
Yeah.
And that's open to
It's
any
actually a
business.
great
as a
idea.
matter of
Yeah.
fact.
Come
right.
on down, come on in.
Anybody for any reason.
You need some quiet, you go downstairs.
That's right.
That's right. That can happen.
It's true. So, but no. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So, if
good.
anybody's interested, we'd love to have a chat.
Marketicity.
I'm going to have to do that, Gary. I
Tell
need
you
some
what,
help
no.
with execution.
Maybe we could do a trade for a 1972 Cutlass Supreme 442 convertible in Viking blue with a white top.
Here we go.
Do you notice how I keep dropping
Or
those
something
Cutlass-
like that.
Oh, I know
those Oldsmobile? You commented on the last one. I got 3 of them right now.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Well, come down to the shop.
I will. If you don't
Check 'em
mind,
out.
I'd love to.
Anytime.
I would love to. That'd be great.
That'd be cool.
Awesome. And just thanks so very much for having us in. Very much enjoyed. A lot of fun. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you. This
Well,
was
I'm
fun.
sure our listeners have enjoyed this episode, but what they really want to know about is the German word of the day.
That's why they come here.
Yeah,
I think
true.
so. Oh, you must mean Plakatwand.
of course.
Plakatwand. Let's see. Kevin said it was a giant stick as he looked out my window.
Of course.
Jared said it was a tape player as he's
Tape
looking
player.
at his
I don't know. You know.
electronic things over here. Gary said, oh, I actually know that word. It means plaid jacket.
Yeah.
Gary? That was incorrect. I'm sorry.
Oh, was I close?
So confident.
Was it plaid shorts or
It
boxers?
was
'Cause
nothing. It was billboard.
billboard?
Oh, you said Placket Von?
Oh,
I'm
right.
sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
He's been practicing.
See what he
told
did
you.
there, though?
He
He
made
made it
confidence.
thematic again.
He did. I like
did.
it.
Yeah,
I
back
like
to the
it.
theme.
He doesn't always, but
I thought maybe
that's a
we'd go
good
with
one.
the plaid jacket Herb Tarlick kind of thing. So
Ooh, that kind of works. That could be a good Halloween costume for you. You could
Now
probably
that you
pull off a
mention
Herb Tarlick.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know either. Guy sold some ads, so you know.
It's true.
I got to look that up.
Oh, right on. Well, we appreciate you joining us. This is a lot of fun and educational. So you know,
Yeah.
So
That's not too often
I
that you
was
get
saying-
that from this podcast.
But you know what? There's always something to learn, at least for me, because I'm, when you go off into the weeds on the beer or the bourbon or the process or our other business, there's always something to learn here.
Sure.
absolutely.
It's educational.
Something like
Yep.
that.
So your mom should let you listen to it. And if you enjoyed this show, we recommend that you hit that subscribe button so that next time it just magically appears in your inbox. And we'll leave it up to you to figure out if it's the first or the second in a 2-run series, or if one got dropped like last time.
You can leave your comment right on Spotify. This was the first.
Yes.
Or this was the second.
Maybe we could do an OnlyFans or something with the last one that we deleted.
You have to subscribe to this one.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, you have to pay our
Yes. And for Mr. Chris Ron, Mr. Jared Chasson, and Mr. Gary Most, I'm Kevin Osteen. And we close this show by saying, Prost.
now recording. Get that last gulp in before we.
All right.
Last
hold
last
on.
go. How long is this going to take? I don't know if I can go that long.
We usually go maybe an hour, 45 minutes. You'll be all right. Get your word of the day.
Whatever it needs. He's got to cheat real fast.
Or say the wrong thing like I did that one time.
Yeah.
So it
My own word.
was funny as you were listening to these. I'm like, I took German for 2 years in high school. My very first semester I had an A. My very last semester I had an F. But I still remember it was just a steady slide downhill.
Yep.
But I still remember one of my favorite German words. So curious to see what you give us.
Was that your favorite one?
I don't think so.
I got it. I'm ready.
All right.
All right. You good?
I think so.
All right.